All right, so there is another big story, in fact, coming in at this moment. Boycott Bharat campaign. This is how the pressure is being built up in the in various countries across the globe to in fact hit out at India. Ladies and gentlemen, now a lot of people are saying that this is a toolkit which is being now used to ensure, and this all happened when BJP spokesperson, former spokesperson Nupur Sharma, who has now been suspended from the party, and another person had in fact gone ahead and spoken about in a very derogatory manner about in the religion Islam, and post that there is one after another a lot of Middle Eastern Arab countries, those who are in fact coming out and hitting out at the government of India, which resulted in suspension of Nupur Sharma and Naveen Kumar Jindal, the leaders of the BJP. The Boycott India Toolkit. Now, this is the big expose as far as the Times Now is concerned. We bring you a big exclusive on how pressure is being built on Islamic countries to condemn India over Nupur Sharma's comments on Prophet Muhammad. The entire toolkit has been accessed by Times Now, which gives us an insight of how an online campaign against India was mounted. The big story, ladies and gentlemen, at this moment on Times Now, it started with a thoughtless comment about the Prophet, but blew up into a diplomatic crisis for the country. Spokesperson of the ruling party, BJP, when she made these comments, in fact, now there are one country after another which is coming out and, in fact, hitting out at India. Days after 11 Muslim majority countries condemned the comments made by BJP former spokesperson Nupur Sharma and Naveen Jindal, many were left wondering, how did two comments get such prominence and publicity across the globe? How did this issue get amplified in the manner it did? Now, there seems to be evidence to suggest none of this was organic, far from, the spontaneous outrage that a lot of people are talking about. Two comments taken and shared, propagated and pumped to build an atmosphere where Islamic countries otherwise friendly to India would be compelled to issue a statement against it. And here is how it all went down. Across the globe, the comments on the Prophet were used by anti-India forces. An Egyptian organization that is front for the Muslim Brotherhood started a Twitter storm. 60 different tweets were drafted and put out multiple times, always asking for a response from Muslim majority countries to, in fact, condemn the comments made by the spokesperson from the ruling party. All of these tweets were then coordinated to go out at 7:30 p.m. on June 3rd. The idea was to project India as an Islamophobic country and urge the Islamic countries to condemn it. For this purpose, hashtag was used. Ila Rasul Allah or Modi. By the way, this group, in fact, the International Organization for the Support of the Prophet Islam, was also behind the campaign seeking a ban on French products in wake of Charlie Hebdo controversy. But they weren't the only ones. Security agencies have told Times Now Pakistan also worked steadily behind the scenes in the campaign. Hashtags against India and talking about an insult to the Prophet that trended in UAE and Saudi Arabia. Most of the traffic came from Pakistan. What is more, in fact, populated by unique 750 bot accounts, which seemingly were created solely for this purpose. Now, isn't this very clear that the entire campaign was orchestrated by people, those who are not friendly as far as India is concerned, and those who are looking to make an opportunity out of the crisis by loose comments, in fact, which were made by the spokesperson or the former spokesperson of the ruling party. Monica Verma, political analyst, is joining us. General G.D. Bakshi, defense expert, also with us at this moment. Vivek Srivastav, political analyst, joining us as well. I want to start with you, Monica. Now, this, no matter how loose these comments were, but this was picked up on an international level, in an orchestrated manner, to make sure that India is ashamed and the countries which are friendly to India are forced, in fact, to come out with harsh stand as far as this religion is concerned.
Well, this is not for the first time that an anti-India toolkit has been used. If you look at the past precedents, there has been a pattern to it. Whether it is the farm laws or it is the CAA debate or it is the Delhi riots. And in fact, there's an ongoing hashtag which is always trending on Twitter, genocide of Muslims in India. So if you look at the source of traffic, you always analyze it, and what you will be shocked to find is that most of the tweets, they originate from Pakistan. So, it's not a matter of shock at all that the deep state in Pakistan, especially the ISI, has hired many people, many trolls whose full-time job is to just bash India online. And they use, fake accounts. They use all these accounts just to target India. In fact, surprisingly, today Indian media is talking about how the Muslim Brotherhood's IOSPI, their propaganda arm, talked about all this, and it was funded by them, and it's literally a nexus between Qatar and Egypt-based this organization. This was something that was pointed out by a OSINT account on Twitter 3 days ago. A very popular handle on Twitter had already pointed this out. None of, the journalists in the Indian media picked it up. And time and again, I, being someone who's from the geopolitical community, has always talked about how Twitter randomly suspends India's OSINT accounts who expose these deep state, designs and their all the activities that they do.
Vivek Srivastav, while these comments are absolutely condemnable, the BJP has taken action against the spokesperson. The fact is that this can't be allowed to be utilized to weaken India's position globally.
Who are we to allow? Who are we to allow what any other country follow? The BJP spokesperson made comments which are not in good taste. And when they were not in good taste, then obviously other countries tried to protest, And no hashtag,
this is precisely Mr. Srivastav. Maybe you did not hear the beginning of this entire story. This is precisely what we are, in fact, breaking right now, that it was a coordinated campaign. We need to understand that no matter how and what internal matter of India, and if there has been a mistake which has been made for which the spokesperson have paid the price, that can't be utilized by anti-India forces to shame the country on a global level.
I don't understand who has utilized whom. Are you trying to tell me that the Qatar government, it summoned the Indian High Commissioner and said that what is happening in India is not in good taste?
No, the Qatar government summoned the Indian envoy only after there were people and vested interests, those who created an international Twitter storm. A force, and also created this platform which forced the Islamic countries to come out and in fact condemn India.
No, there is no such platform, and no platform can force 20 countries in totality, including certain Western countries and Europe, to protest. I mean, no Twitter hashtag and all the small Facebook and YouTube version of promotions can be.
Sir, I understand your political agendas, but you can't, for the sake of the country, just can't keep your head buried into the sand. We understand what happened as far as the party is concerned, but that does not mean, and let me bring in Major General BGD Bakshi at this moment. General Bakshi, no matter how reprehensible those comments were, can, as a country, can we afford to stand divided when India, and there are people inimical to India, those who are using this opportunity to in fact shame the country on a global level?
Look, the simple fact is most of this is emanating from Pakistan. Most of it is emanating from Pakistan. They have been orchestrating these kind of campaigns earlier. They have been given a golden chance. They are trying to make the most of it. All that I would like to point out is, what is Pakistan's treatment of its own minorities? Is that the most virtuous country to raise point fingers at anybody else? What have they done to their Hindu minority? From 18% it is down to about 1.2%. What have they done to their Sikhs? What have they done to the Buddhists? I mean, they have wiped them out. What have they done to their Shias? What have they, for that matter, done to their Baluchis? Who are they to preach? Papa, don't preach. Look after your country. Don't try and teach us, okay, we can take care of our own. We are a plural nation. We have a great tradition of tolerance. I'm sure that will assert itself. It is asserting itself. The fact of the matter is, Pakistan is no locus standi. Absolutely no locus standi to interfere, poke its nose in. It better look after its own minority.
All right, stay on with me, sir. Let me also at this moment play out this reaction which has come from Union Minister Piyush Goyal. In fact, India, let's listen in to this reaction.
I think the Foreign Office has also come out with clear clarification on that, on the international demand. And the Bharatiya Janata Party has taken the necessary action. I would urge you to look at the statement that the Foreign Office has taken out.
India will lead the world next week.
We will lead the world, we will continue to lead the world, and with all these countries also we have very good relations, and the relations will continue to be very good.
There is a campaign going on the Gulf countries and etc. Boycott Indian products. Is this affect India?
I have not heard of any such campaign. They have only mentioned that such statements should not be made, and accordingly the person who made it action has been taken on that. All the Indians living in Gulf countries are safe and they do not have to worry.
All right, that is Mr. Piyush Goyal, in fact, speaking on this very issue. General Bakshi, if I may also come at this moment, and just get a sense from you. All these, you said there is a clear Pakistan angle to this as well. Should the government have also reacted slightly earlier, not given chance to these hate mongers and inimical, India unfriendly, in fact, Indian countries to try and utilize this as an opportunity, sir?
This could have been better, more alacratic, especially because our vice president was in the Middle East and he had to face a bit of embarrassment on the court. So we should have preempted it, headed it off. We could have reacted a bit faster. But the way this has snowballed has taken everybody by surprise. It was in poor taste. I don't think we should really have gone that route. Because I do believe that you don't externalize, you have to externalize the other. You can't keep it within your boundaries and, have discord in your own nation, because this gives a needless handle to others to try and preach to us. And people, those who are preaching the most, are the people who are most violative of human rights, most violative of the rights of their minorities, etc., especially Pakistan. Pakistan has wiped out the Hindu minority from that country. From 18%, it has been brought to 1.1%. The figures speak for themselves.
Yes.
For such a country to teach others how to look after their minorities is a bit rich. And I don't think we should quite lump it or take it lying down. I don't think we should, quite feel so put down. We are a plural country with a great tradition of tolerance. The Hindu religion has a great tradition of tolerance. It says, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam.
Right.
It talks of, the Atman being the Paramatman. That means the same consciousness that is in me, is in every other human being, is in every other creature. Every tree, every plant, twig, leaf, tree, etc. That is the outlook of the Indic civilization.
Mr. Srivastav.
Too many this thing, we have taken action.
Mr. Srivastav, political points and political acrimony or political discord would also be there. There will always be chance to, in fact, settle political score. But have those to be at the cost of country and the country's pride? As General Bakshi is saying, the government could have possibly acted slightly earlier as far as the erring spokespersons are concerned. But can we or the opposition parties right now rub their hands in glee while India is facing this kind of a boycott and this kind of a campaign, orchestrated campaign across the globe?
See, first of all, it is not the question of opposition or the ruling party. It is the question of is the basic ethos of the constitution being followed in this country or not. If you see a spectrum of debates, every day there is Islamophobia happening on every debate. I mean, Nupur Sharma is one of those people who was questioned, fought and protested against. आप हर चैनल पे जाइए, every day somebody is questioning Quran, somebody is questioning Prophet, somebody is saying Muslims can never live with Hindus, somebody is saying Muslim आक्रांता आ गया तो मंदिर टूट गया. For entire 90% of today's time in the national television media, every channel is going on Hindu versus Muslim, Masjid versus Mandir, and in an uncivilized democracy like Pakistan, the majority competes with the minority. And we were not like this earlier.
But Mr. Srivastav, please tell me one thing. If you have such a problem as far as the quality of the debates are concerned, you are among the panelists in most of those debates. So then you should, you go ahead, not participate in such debates if it is such a problem, sir. I mean, these are the issues. The country would require the issues to be debated. If there are people, those who are coming out, nobody here and nobody anywhere in their right mind would be able to defend what Nupur Sharma did. She's not being defended by her own party right now. But the fact is, sir, that the internal politics can't be utilized or can't be given space to countries inimical to India to utilize it to, in fact, shame us on global stage. On that account, should all political parties and citizens of the country stand together?
Yes, give me 20 seconds, please, and don't interrupt me. Very clearly, इसमें कोई external, internal नहीं है. There is a party called the Bharatiya Janata Party, which is a political face of the RSS, which has an agenda of a Hindu Rashtra, which is anti-minority, anti-Muslims, doesn't consider them equal to us. Islamophobia happens every day as an agenda. We had a Dharam Sansad in Haridwar, we had Naras in Jantar Mantar.
This is dog whistling, sir. You are doing the same. If you are accusing them, then you are doing the same thing. This is absolute dog whistling, and let me get in. In fact, our other guest on this, Ms. Verma, you heard what Mr. Srivastav was saying. Because of possibly the local politics, he's completely shut his eyes to this orchestrated campaign, to this entire conspiracy to defame India.
I think he's bringing his own subjectivity. He's digressing from the issue and he's pointing to the problem of Islamophobia. Just a few days ago, when the surveying of Gyanvapi Masjid was done, what was happening with the Shivlingam memes? All the celebrities, all the popular politicians, everyone was sharing such memes. No one talked about Hinduphobia at that time. So, there is a balancing act. If there is Islamophobia, there is Hinduphobia as well. Why aren't you talking about it? Also, there definitely is a line between internal and external, because internally, we do know the quality of the TV debates have come down. But when it comes to the external boundaries, there are certain things which are centrosect. No matter whether it is Congress which is in power, no matter whether it is BJP in power, you have to respect country's sovereignty. No Qatar, no Kuwait, no Libya, no Iran can come one day and tell us what is right and what is wrong. Especially when all these countries themselves have their hands dirty. They do not respect their own human rights. They don't respect women issues. They don't respect the LGBT. And imagine talking about Muslims, okay? Just one comment. What are they doing with the Xinjiang problem? They are hands in gloves with China. They share biometric data of Uyghur Muslims with China. Yes. They detain and deport Uyghur Muslims to China. Yes. They still have a thriving business relationship with China.
Bakshi,
just look at that.
General Bakshi, this is the hypocrisy, isn't it? When Imran Khan was the Prime Minister and he was asked about the problem as far as the Uyghurs Muslims in China is concerned, he said, I have not even heard about it. And then there are people within their own country, in India, for their own political gains, they are not looking at exactly the kind of orchestrated campaign which is being utilized against the country, sir. We have a robust system. Our problems will be solved on the platforms that we already have within the constitution.
No. India has adequate number of self-correction mechanisms. We do not need the intervention of any other country. They better keep their nose out of our internal affairs.
Okay.
And the question, hypocrisy is the worst thing. Look at what China is doing to its Uyghur minority. They can't have loudspeakers on their mosque. They can't, go outside their mosque to pray. They have been forced to cut off their beard. The burqas have been ripped off the faces of their women. They can't have Muslim names.
Yes.
They have to have Han names. They have to speak in Han Chinese. 6 million of them have been put inside concentration camps. They have been whipped, tortured. Not a squeak. Not a squeak. You see? And there are other people who say, we don't want to live in a time warp in the 7th century. So,
okay.
There are people who say, well, we have the right to have our own opinion. As long as you are not hurting feelings deliberately.
Absolutely.
I think a bit of debate is fine. But even if there was somebody who would cross the line, the party has taken action. Now the point is, when you use this for India bashing generally, not just confined to this issue.
Yes.
The
yes.
OIC, Pakistan, India has vehemently protested because they've gone far beyond the ambit of this incident, which India has said, look, as far as we are...
Okay. Thank you, sir, for joining us. Thank you to my guests as well. We have to move on.